welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Yeah, so Mark Morrison and the return of the Mac. No, it's called the return of the Sports Corner Show every single Tuesday. Oh, yeah, you know it. We're here every single Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. with me, Ralph Williams, and Smokin' Jim Frazier. It's great to be here with you today. I know it's a rainy day here in Pittsburgh, but, we're going to cheer you up a little bit here and get you away from the gloom and doom of the rain here in Pittsburgh. As we have a great show for you today. I have for you Bo Crouch. He's going to join us, and we're going to talk some NFL football. We're going to talk about that farce of a fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. But first, I want to say this show is dedicated to my late father, Ralph Williams II, and my late nephew, Sean Negley Jr. Also, don't forget, we're going to be possibly uploading this as soon as I get the logistics as to what to do on the Huddle Sports Network sometime on Wednesday night around 11 o'clock. So as soon as I get the logistics as to how to do it, this is going to be uploaded onto the Huddle Sports Network because we're going to be getting more involved with them coming down the road as well. All right, today, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios. They are a studio sponsor. 724-2010-500. Call Mata today. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Don't forget to get your furnace done. They have UV lighting and snow melt in case the winter gets bad, although they say we're supposed to have another mild winter. Smokin' Jim, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one.
All right. My rant today is this. I feel bad for Paul Skeens. You know why I feel bad for him? Because he won Rookie of the Year and he's about to win the Cy Young he could win the Cy Young. And you know what's sad? Why I feel bad for him? Because he's with a sucky team like the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's exactly why I feel bad for him. And you know what? I don't know if he's going to even be around for the 6-year contract that he signed. Okay? And you know what? I feel bad for everybody in Pittsburgh. Actually, I don't, because you're the ones that worship this owner, Bob Nutting. And guess what? Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Ralph Williams Show, I have Gabe Molesky coming on, who's one of the guys that's in charge of the billboards to tell everyone that Bob Nutting should sell the Pittsburgh Pirates because Paul Skeens will be playing for another team in a few years. And that's my rant today. Smokin' Jim's wisdom.
Hey, great job, Ralph, as usual.
Thank you.
Listen, it was another bad game for Broderick Jones.
Yes.
Even though I think he'll turn into a pretty good football player. But the Steelers' number 2 receivers, I don't think they had any catches, maybe one. But this past weekend was Jordan Addison's 13th touchdown reception in a year and a half. George Pickens got 10 in 3 years. Man, you could have had Liz Swan and John Stallworth if you'd only drafted Jordan Edison. Here's an update. Jordan Edison update, brother.
Okay. That is great, man. Thank you for that. And that was Smokin' Jim's wisdom. And today we have two guests for you today. Coming up in a few minutes here, we have Bo Crouch. Bo covers the Seattle Seahawks, but he also has his own podcast, and he does a lot of NFL talk and a lot of college football as well. But we're going to talk also about the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson farce. We'll talk about I call it a farce of a fight because I thought it was a horrible fight. But anyway, excuse me. Wow. Bo Crouch is brought to you in part by Alex's Flowers, 412-661-6071. Call Alex today. 30 years in the flower business. He'll cover weddings, special events, and any kind of a funeral or even for your sweetheart. Alex is the best at handling flowers. So call him today, 412-661-6071. All right, let's get to our guest here. Bo Crouch. Bo, welcome to the program. Welcome back. Thank you for coming on.
Doing good. How are you?
All right. Tell everybody about your podcast and what in your broadcasting company and what, and all the stuff you do.
Yeah, so I have a daily show on Roku TV called Coast to Coast Sports. It's on the national streaming network. And, other than that, I do roughly about 20 shows a week. So, I mean, it's pretty busy generally.
Well, you know what? You're a busy guy like I am and everyone else is. And you know what? Squeaky wheel gets the grease, Bo. I always say that. And, so we're squeaking the wheel and we're getting the grease here. Smoking Jim, say hello to Bo.
Sound like Bo knows sports.
Oh, you know it, man. You know it. Bo, I want to welcome you back to the program. Let's get started here. Seattle Seahawks beat the 49ers. It was good to see that victory because I think the 49ers are now starting to get exposed with some of the, the Kyle Shanahan's offense and some of the other stuff. I know they've had some injuries, but, it's Brock Purdy starting to get exposed. Your thoughts on this win against the 49ers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was huge for the Seahawks, right? For them to keep playoff hopes alive. This division is incredibly tough as far as against each other. You got three teams 5-5. Arizona's leading the way at 6-4. But, it was a big win, especially in the way of they haven't beat the Niners in 3 years. So getting that monkey off their back is a big piece. Now, obviously, Joey Bosa going down during the game, changes the way that they could kind of attack Geno Smith. But, again, at the end of the day, it was a great win for them. This division's only going to have one representative in the playoffs this year. It's going to be whoever wins the division. There's too many other good teams. So no wild cards out of the West.
Oh, okay. There we go. Feather Freebird says, hi, guys. Hello, Feather. Yeah. So there you go. All right. It's great that we have some folks in the comments section, folks tuning in here on Bo's network as well. It's great that we're on his network simulcasted. Smoking Jim, any questions for Bo?
Yeah, great comments, Bo. Well, we got Russell Wilson here, former Seattle Seahawk, great. And they asked him after the Baltimore Ravens game, which is a tremendous rivalry, have you experienced anything similar to this? And he said the Seattle, San Francisco game. So, I was not surprised when Seattle upset San Fran because it's such a tremendous rivalry.
Oh, for sure. And of course, Wilson is a great fit for your Steelers in the way that you guys are set up exactly how Seattle was when he got there. You have a great defense. You have a solid running game. You have enough weapons, and you have good protection up front, which is what he had the first couple of years here in Seattle. You're not asking him to do too much. He doesn't have to go play hero ball. He doesn't need to do the let Russ cook stuff, right? Like he gets to go be special 2 or 3 times a game. And other than that, your defense and your running game helps bring it all together. So it's actually a fantastic fit for your Steelers.
Excuse me for a minute here. I had to change my glasses. I've been having this eye problem and it resurfaced this afternoon or earlier this morning. So I need to make sure that I got to change my glasses here so I can see a little bit better. There we go. All right. Anyway, Bo, let's talk about some of the NFL games that happened. And then if you want to, we can get into this Jake Paul fight with Mike Tyson. In fact, we'll talk about that right now because that's the biggest discussion right now nationally here is this fight. I thought it was a waste of time and a waste of, my money, my Netflix comes with my cable package. Yep. So technically I really don't pay monthly like everyone else does. You know what I'm saying? It comes with my cable package. So it's all in one package deal. So I kind of watch it for free more or less. But I don't watch Netflix that much. The only time I watch it is to watch The Lincoln Lawyer and The Karate Kid or the Cobra Kai. Yep. But now they're getting into sports. We have the Steelers playing the Kansas City Chiefs, on Christmas Day on Netflix. And now this past weekend, we had this fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. And they blew it by, you couldn't watch part of it. I'm going to say this. I caught it on YouTube, and I was able to watch that better than it was when it was on Netflix.
Yep.
So your thoughts on this fight, and what did you think could have, should, or would have happened?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few things. Obviously, the best fight of the night was with the viewers and the servers of Netflix.
Yes.
You know, the main event was a total waste of time. Not that I thought Tyson was going to be great, but I thought he was going to land more than 18 punches in 8 rounds. So, I mean, obviously, it left something to be desired. It was a cash grab. Let's be honest. You knew it was going to be. He's a 58-year-old man. But you know, there were a couple of decent fights that
Rios fight was really good. That one with the WBC championship, I like that one, and the Taylor Serrano fight was really good too, I thought.
Yeah, no, there was a couple
Serrano,
of fights,
or whatever her name is. Yeah,
exactly. There was a couple of fights in that they were worth watching. I was one of the few that my stream wasn't actually interrupted, but you know, so I got to watch everything in its entirety. But yeah, I mean, I know a few people that actually canceled their Netflix after it. Probably the biggest thing that was a great takeaway was this was a good test run for them before they have to mess with the NFL, because now they have a little bit of time.
And also the WWE too, Bo. The WWE's putting Raw on there in January, so they need to get their act together before they have the WWE coming on and they have NFL games. So,
well,
I mean,
and I think that's where this was beneficial to them, is they now have 5 weeks to get their server farm kind of figured out before they have back-to-back NFL games. And then, of course, they move into that in January. So, I mean, they have some time to try and make it so that it isn't as big of a deal. We didn't have to pay for this, right? It's not like it was a pay-per-view. Not that I would have paid for this, but because 100% I would not have. I watched it because it was part of my Netflix. But,
exactly.
you know, like there's zero chance I was going to do a pay-per-view for Tyson, you know, because I watched him as a kid. Like I watched I watched him in his prime. So I don't want to see the broken down mic. I'm just certainly not paying for it anyway. But I think it was a great test run for them to know that their systems are trash and they need to fix that before they get to things like the NFL on Christmas Day, where the ratings are going to be so much higher.
I got to tell you something interesting here. This is how I see this fight. I saw it as a backwards Rocky Balboa fight. Remember the fight against Antonio Tarver in the Rocky Balboa, movie? Okay. But at least Rocky gave some kind of more than 18 punches. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know, I saw it as a backwards fight because, Jake Paul just totally dominated that fight. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on this?
He had more glove bites than swings.
Swings,
it was very weird. It was, you saw more of his butt than you did boxing. Like it was crazy. I was not a fan. Like it was very disappointing.
Yeah, it was. Your thoughts, Smoking Jim? Go ahead.
Well, I'm a little opposite, Ralph, from you and Bo, because I predicted that Jake Paul would knock Mike Tyson out within 2 rounds. So I was very impressed with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's 58 years old, and to be able to go 8 rounds is tremendous. And anybody that knows anything about boxing, and I know you two know a lot about the fight game, just to be in there and keep your hands up and be alert and to stay out of trouble for 8 rounds. I think in the first round, I think Tyson caught Jake Paul with a good enough punch where Jake Paul kind of felt his power a little bit. But still, I know you guys are nowhere near 58 years old, but when you guys hit that age, trust me, you'll have a newfound, respect for Mike Tyson to be able to go 8 rounds at that age and not have a heart attack. So I thought it was good. I thought the fight card was excellent.
Oh yes,
Serrata Taylor,
absolutely.
Serrata Taylor would have been worth paying for it. The only downside was in Pittsburgh. You could not bet on the fights. So
yeah, that was
I
sad.
did not like that.
That was
I could have
sad.
made some money on Jake Paul.
Oh yeah, Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that was going on, actually, to be frankly honest with you. Look, Smoking Jim, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. I'm 2 years younger than Tyson. Okay. So I'm almost there. I'm 2 years younger than Tyson. So I just want to let you know that. So let everybody know that I'm 2 years younger than Tyson. So anyhow, but no, I understand. I get it. I mean, a 58-year-old man, but I actually expected just a little bit better from him. A little more, knock his block off, at least knock him down at least once. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It just nothing. To me, it was nothing.
That's
but
why
I mean,
thought it was scripted.
Yeah,
because Jake Paul had opportunities to just come in on him, and he didn't. Like
right.
after the fourth round, there was plenty of times where Tyson couldn't move his legs. Where
Yeah.
if he wanted to actually come in and attack, like he could have finished him off. So this was clearly a bow to the great. And,
Right.
Don't embarrass him. Let him get through the rounds. But it was obvious who was going to win, right? Because hit count. But I mean, if Jake Paul wanted to go finish him off, he would have been able to because Tyson couldn't move.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, I saw that. Not myself, but yeah, the undercard was good. And the announcer Mauro Ranallo put on. He's a very good announcer. Used to announce in the WWE, and couldn't get along with a couple of the co-hosts. So he decided to move on to boxing, which he's done a really good job in boxing anyway. So but Smoking Jim, you have anything else you want to talk about the Paul Tyson fight before we move on?
No, I think we can move on past that.
Yep, we can. Let's do it. All right. Some of these NFL games this past weekend, Bo, which one caught your attention other than Seattle and San Francisco?
I mean, obviously the Bills KC game was a huge game, and the Ravens Steelers game was a huge game.
Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah.
Those were kind of my games of the week, and there's something wrong with Baltimore. Like for some reason, they have this reluctancy to use Henry to the ability that they can.
Yeah, once he fumbled that ball in the first quarter there, when he had his first run and Nick Herbig stripped the ball out of his hand. Once he had that fumble, after that, you didn't see you didn't hit or high with Derrick Henry. You know what I mean?
So the thing that's really interesting is if you look at every loss they have this year, he has 16 or less carries.
Right.
He's a running back that, like Adrian Peterson, needs the touches. He needs 25 touches because his first 10 aren't generally for a lot. It's as he wears defenders down. And for whatever reason, they get away from running Henry. If you look at their wins, they're only wins that have similar, carry numbers, which, 16-ish.
Right.
Were the two wins against the Bengals, both of which were one was in overtime and one was a last second win. So, I mean, it's not like they were killing any of those guys. Any of the games that they've won comfortably, he's had 20, 25 carries. So if analysts can see it, you would hope that coaches in the room can see that. So I don't know what they're waiting for as far as using Henry. He's obviously healthy, super dynamic. Why they're not using him, I don't know. Obviously, the Steelers get a little bit lucky because Tucker decided he forgot how to kick. But, so that was weird. And then it was good to see the Bills knock off KC. I think they are an overrated team, only in the way that, sure, they were undefeated coming in, but they weren't playing good football. Like they were getting lucky in moments, and I mean, better lucky than good sometimes, right? But
that's what I always say, Bo. It's better to be lucky than good. Yeah.
At the same time, it's going to be tough to win a championship that way because you got to be lucky a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, the biggest thing is their defense. KC's defense is great, no question.
Right.
But the offense has been underwhelming, and there's probably 3 other games they easily could have lost that they just had lucky things happen to get them the win. So you knew that them running the table wasn't going to happen. And a team like the Bills, who is probably one of the more complete teams in the league right now, it made sense they'd knock them off.
All right, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-201-0500. Kalamata Heating and Air Conditioning. We have Bo Crouch as our guest today here on Sports Corner. He's from the coast. He has a show called Coast to Coast, and he has his own podcast, and he has several. He does several shows on there. Smoking Jim, you have any questions for Bo? Any more questions you want to ask?
No, there's tremendous analysis by Bo. You know, we kind of see things very similarly. Like I thought that Baltimore Ravens, I thought that they lost in the playoffs last year because they got away from what they are, which is a running team. They just tried to throw the ball all around. And I tell you what, man, I was happy for the Pittsburgh Steelers fans to see Derrick Henry on the sideline most of the fourth quarter.
Yes,
the guy's unstoppable, man. Like you said, he'll wear them down and whatnot. So, yeah
I think I'm trying to look for this word, Bo, but maybe you can help me. John Harbaugh seems to always try to overcoach to try to beat the Steelers, and he always comes up short. I mean, like he'll go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and we make him eat it all the time. Then Justin Tucker missing 2 field goals, and then Derrick Henry dropping the ball. It just seems like Baltimore seems to screw up against the Steelers, which is a good thing. But what I'm saying is that's exactly what they managed to do. And I think Todd Monken tried to get a little too cute with his offense. And I think what happened was he ended up having to eat that too. So, that's what I believe. That's because I think they overcoached to try to beat the Steelers, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it reminds you a lot of Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs.
Yeah, there you go.
He gets in his own way, right? Like, I don't know why coaches will get to the playoffs and then get away from what works.
Yeah, like, exactly.
There's something that got you there all year. So
stick with what works.
Make them beat you, right? Like if they shut it down, then you adjust. But you shouldn't shut it down on yourself, right? I mean, last year in the playoffs, the Ravens, they had 6 designed runs to running backs. That's insane for the best running team in the league. Why would you do that? You basically made yourself one-dimensional instead of the defense doing it. So, I don't really get why teams do it, but the Ravens seem to do it quite a bit, especially this year as of late. And Kyle Shanahan in every playoff situation.
Oh yeah! All right, DraftNation.com. Check out their website. They cover all drafts, no matter if it's NBA, NHL, baseball, or football. DraftNation.com. Check out their e-magazine, $9.99 a month. Also, it's free to subscribe. So check out all their shows on there. Our co-host on our radio shows, Claudia Rosano, has a baseball show on there. So check it out as well. And please don't forget about this Saturday, the Sports Corner radio show, and every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m., 1250 a.m., 92.5 FM, The Answer, with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. All right. Bo, they said we weren't going to be back, but we're back on the radio. So, right here in Pittsburgh. So it's a great thing. And I just won the Achieving Greatness Award this past Saturday. I want to thank Smoking Jim and the Achieving Greatness group for giving me that award. So it's just I'm riding high now. And it's everything's working the way it needs to go, and that's a great thing for me. So, and some people are sitting around eating it, who the naysayers out there, some of the people from the former radio station we were on all the way down, saying that I was never coming back on radio. Well, guess what? I'm back and better than ever. So, and I got 3 guys with me that are just great people. So, I have no more to say because they're great people. That's all I have to say.
Hey, you know what? The best thing about naysayers, haters, whatever you want to call them, is they never miss a show. Some of your best watchers ever. So,
absolutely. Yeah. You know what?
Embrace them, and congrats on the award, man. That's awesome.
Did you ever see Private Parts by Howard Stern? Remember the part when Paul Giamatti goes up to the guy and he says, if they hate him, why do they listen? Because they want to hear what he'll say next. Okay. There's people that can hate you, but you know what? They'll still listen to you because they want to know what you're going to say next. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny. The way I look at it is your friends, family, fans, even, right? They'll listen when they can, right? But haters will never miss a show because they want to try and throw anything back at you. But the best thing is They get you all of your views, your watch hours, all of that. Like they're the ones that help get you paid. That should actually make them even more mad.
Absolutely. Okay, we got some more here in the chat room. Congrats, Ralph. Thank you, Feather Freebird. Thank you for participating in the show. And we're on Coast to Coast, simulcasted with Bo Crouch here. I want to thank Bo for being part of the program today. Smoking Jim, you have any final questions for Bo before we wrap it up?
No, Bo was awesome, man.
All right, great. Bo, one quick thing before we go. One of your which college game did you enjoy the most this weekend?
I actually didn't watch any college games this weekend.
There were a couple dogfights out there. Tennessee, Georgia, the Oregon game. Yeah, there were some dogfights out there this week. So
I had errands to run.
Clemson even got into a dogfight. I thought Pitt was going to get blown out by Clemson, but they ended up only losing by 4. A 7 quarterback sacks. Horrible play calling at the line of scrimmage on the 2-yard line. Pre-snap penalties just killed us. It just killed us. So, I mean, but anyway, but thank you both for being part of the program. Really appreciate you. And you have yourself a great one. We'll have you come back on again sometime in the future. If I don't talk to you, have a happy holiday season and a happy new year.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on, guys. And one quick thing, if you are here in the Pacific Northwest, our local arena team, the Washington Wolfpack, is going to be doing their schedule release today at the Everett Buzz-In Steakhouse. I will be there covering it. So if you're in the area, come out, say hi, and we'll chat some football.
All right, there you go. Stop
Thank
by. Say hello to Bo. All right, Bo, thank you. All right, that was Bo Crouch from Coast to Coast. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on Bo, what he had to say, and do you have anything to add before our next guest comes on?
No, Bo did an excellent job, man. But as far as you're talking about college football, man, I tell you what, this week, man, Ohio State got 2 outstanding running backs. Let's see if they can control the game against Indiana. Indiana may flat out beat Ohio State to take control.
Oh, this weekend. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I hope Kurt Cignetti's team comes to play. I really do. I hope they come to play, and I hope they beat Ohio State. I don't care if they beat them by 1 point. I'd like to see Ohio State fall to Indiana. Indiana's a great football team. I mean, with Kurt Cignetti and, and everything else. All right, Smoking Jim, let's talk a little bit of Steelers here before Ryan comes on. He's from Amped Up Sports. He works with Leo Haggerty and Peter Blake and them down there. Anyway, speaking of that, here is Ryan. Here is Ryan right now. Hang on 1 second. All right, we have Ryan Neal joining us from Amped Up Sports. Ryan, welcome to the program by phone. How are you, Ryan?
Doing real well. Thank you for having me, my man. Pleasure to be here.
All right, Ryan, say hello to my co-host, Smoking Jim Frazier, who's also on by phone.
Well, hello there, man. Nice to talk to you, too.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Good to hear you.
All right. Ryan, I know you cover the New Orleans Saints, and I want to say I told you so. I said that Dennis Allen is a bum. He's a horrible coach. What's the word down there right now? I know they're winning games now since he's been fired. So what's the word down in New Orleans?
Well, you can see a completely different fire behind the team, and especially when you have players who are playing for a coach that's likable. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard, but they had interviews with all the players about Dennis Allen, and there was not too many good things to say about him. And with the new guy coming in, it's helping them out a lot. And I can say one thing, that game against the Browns, I was impressed overall, and Taysom Hill gave us all a reminder that he's the Swiss Army knife of the NFL, and he is insane. And it's just the only thing holding him back in his career is injuries.
Yeah, exactly. Smoking Jim, you have any questions for Ryan?
No, I don't.
All right, Ryan, LSU, you cover LSU as well. What's your thoughts about
man, that's my team.
I know it is. What's going on with LSU right now?
So, with any Tiger fans listening, I'll say this right now. Emotionally, I am done with Brian Kelly. That's what I can say. But realistically, we need to take a you know what I always say whenever I get into an argument with my girlfriend, take a step back, let the emotions settle, and look at the big picture. And when you look at the big picture, Brian Kelly has a whole new staff on defense. He has two coordinators on offense who are starting to not look the greatest this year, to be God honest.
Right.
But there's chances on having a top 3 recruiting class, and in that class, 5 5-stars.
Wow.
Get those guys to campus. Get Bryce Underwood to campus. I pray. My biggest question mark of this team is finish 8-4, finish strong, win a bowl game. The Tax Slayer, Gator Bowl, whatever we go to, and then at the end of the day, tell Nussmeier he either goes to the NFL or transfers, because I love the guy. I'm glad he waited his turn, but we don't want any friction with Bryce Underwood coming to campus. We don't want to have that happen. This is going to be Bryce's team. This is one of the best recruits we've ever had on campus since Leonard Fournette decided to commit to us. We got to make sure we have the red carpet out and have it ready for this team, because Corey Raymond's going to have DJ Pickett, who's from Zephyr Hills High School, which is like 20 minutes away from me. We got LaJesse Harold from Tampa. We got a lot of guys that are dogs, and I think we just have to keep those guys together, develop them. That's the big thing. Another question I have for LSU is, where is Deshaun Womack? Okay, we have seen these issues. He is a high talent, high ceiling. He had signs last year where he was harassing the quarterback in many ways that would not be legal, which I love. And then, at the same time, we don't see him. We have safeties who seem like they want to be more burned. We have a guy with the name Major Burns. His name should be burned because he gets cooked every play. So it's kind of like our safeties is one of the biggest question marks on this team 2 years in a row. And then we're losing Jaden Daniels and his scrambling ability put this team back a lot, and we were not ready for it.
So what you're saying is that is Brian Kelly, sort of lost some talent. Of course Jalen Daniels, and then probably some other talent, and he's not able to work with the talent he has now to get it back up where it needed to be again. As far as and he was like that with Notre Dame. He was like that with Cincinnati. He never really was this big splash coach that really, I just had Bo Crouch on from Coast to Coast Network, and he just told me that, he said something that I say all the time, and Smoking Jim knows this: it's better to be lucky than good. Sometimes he's been lucky, but his teams have not been good. There's been a few times they've dropped the ball, literally.
Yeah. This year, we are lucky. We are 6-4 right now, and not 4-6. With that South Carolina and Ole Miss game, we should have not won either of those games. But God gave us the nod, and He said, "That's my team." And He said, "Screw Ole Miss and screw South Carolina." He told them to go back to women's basketball and gymnastics. So I'll take it.
I know you're an LSU fan. Paul Skeens just won Rookie of the Year. Your thoughts on that?
I'm extremely stoked. It seems like, LSU seems to be an athletic program monster with everything we're producing from the WNBA, MLB, NFL, and every other sport too on the NIL landscape and all that. Right. So seeing another guy win an Rookie of the Year, and we might have another one in Jaden Daniels. LSU is not just NFL SU; they are sports U as of right now.
All right. Oh, absolutely. Smoking Jim, you have any questions for Ryan?
Well, I tell you what, man, I want to thank him for Patrick Queen. He's starting to really come on.
Yes,
He's really a true leader of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. He wears the green dot. He's picking up everything. He's getting everybody in the right spot, and he's still a very, very, very young player, man. So thank you, Ryan, for Patrick Queen.
Of course. I'm happy to, I made him myself. No, so at the end of the day, I'm really happy that Patrick Queen was able to beat up on the Ravens a little bit. I'm personally a Bengals fan because of the LSU players on that team. And after the Ravens beat them twice, it was lovely to watch Justin Tucker miss kicks and, the inconsistencies of the Ravens start up again. So, and I have an ex that's a big not Steelers fan, a Ravens fan. So anytime I see them lose, it's just a little like wave to her goodbye.
Well, here's the thing though, Ryan and Smoke and Jim. All three teams other than the Steelers lost this week. So that's what I love about it. And if we can get that every week, that's a nice thing. So
for sure.
Steelers play the Browns this Thursday in a short week. I'm interested to see how we're going to win this Thursday. And you know what? Even though the Browns have a 2-8 record, when it comes to the rivalry games, they always show up to play. And we've lost the last 2 years in Cleveland. So I'm hoping that this year we don't lose in Cleveland. I got
something to add to that real quick because the Saints just played the Browns, as you know.
Yes.
And Jameis Winston, he always what he does is this is his routine. Have a really good game. Then he has a really, really bad game. So I'm expecting the Steelers to come out and smack him. And I don't think, Jameis Winston, a great guy, great character, famous college football career. He's going to, if you get him to throw those, that genetic 2 to 3 picks he loves to do,
right,
you guys will win easy.
Oh, absolutely. Jameis Winston, he's, I wouldn't say washed up, but he's just not himself like he once was. And the interesting thing about the Browns is all that money they wasted in draft picks, they wasted on Deshaun Watson, Kevin Stefanski, and the management there. They have egg on their face. It's a bad situation here in Cleveland. I heard the story I'm hearing now is that if they lose to Pittsburgh this Thursday, Kevin Stefanski could be out of a job. And I'm hearing that from some great sources that he could be out of a job because the last couple of times I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but some coaches that lost to the Steelers end up getting fired. So, I mean, it would be interested to see because how regressed this team has done. But you know what? In some perspective, it's really not his fault. I mean, GM was the one that made that deal, and I'm sure he had a little bit to say about it. But, it's just he has a bad attitude to begin with. It got so bad between him and Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, that Alex Van Pelt was going to come back to Pitt and be an offensive coordinator, take a step down just to get away from him. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And that was a problem. So somebody had in the ownership group had to step in and break this up and say, hey, you guys got to learn how to work together. And I'm glad Alex is now with New England and he's away from the dumpster fire, as they say there. But of course, New England's not any better either. Your thoughts, Ryan, on some of the games this past weekend and the games coming up this week?
College or NFL?
It doesn't matter. Or college, actually.
Okay.
Let's get into college.
College, that's where I'm a man in. I love watching it.
There you go.
I love SEC, anything like that. Big Ten, I love watching. ACC, I'm a big Syracuse fan just because I love Brown. I love the program, and I think they're going to be one of the runners of the ACC in the next coming years.
I tell you what, even though despite the fact that Pitt's defense scored all them touchdowns on them, I got to give Fran Brown credit. They didn't fold their tent. They kept on coming at us. And I thought, well, you know what? They're going to fold their tent. It's over. We're beating the heck out of them. They kept going for it on fourth down. They kept doing anything they could to try to get back into that game. Yeah. And I got to give Fran Brown credit. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't, I think he's going to have they've already made it to a bowl game. They already have 6 wins. So, I mean,
there's 2 environments that I say are extremely underrated to play in college football. One is South Carolina at Williams-Brice Stadium. The other one is at Pittsburgh, playing there whenever they're a hyped-up team. With Kenny Pickett a few years back, that stadium can get rocking. And if you can't, that's one thing that I don't think sticks with the NFL and to college. In college, if the fans and the atmosphere stays hot and loud, teams usually have a very hard time winning compared to the NFL. And Pittsburgh, man, they were unrelenting to Syracuse in that game a few weeks back. And I also got to say, Pittsburgh is on the up too, obviously. But going through some of the other teams, Georgia put it on Tennessee. Who would have thought? Yeah. And I think Georgia.
I thought Tennessee would have. I'm sorry, Georgia won that game, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought Tennessee would come up with a better fight, but they didn't. So
Yeah,
you know.
if you play Georgia after a loss, get ready to play one of the roughest teams in college football.
Yeah.
Because
Hey,
you got
last
Kirby
week.
Smart. Yeah.
Hey, last week, guys. Alabama had a tough game. They played Mercer State Prison, so they had a really tough game. So
Of course,
right in
that's
the middle of the
normal
season
thing,
too. So
well, it seems like some things with Nick Saban stuck. They always play some weird, easy game near the end of the season. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Ryan is brought to you in part today by the Steel City Yellow Jackets, our ABA basketball team here in Pittsburgh. Get on YC Jack Yellow or SCY yellowjackets.com and check out their website for games and times. They play over at the Living Will Community Center up here in Allentown on Climax Street. Come up and check out a game. I'll tell you what, some great ABA basketball action. They were the champs of the ABA about 2 years ago. They took a year off, came back this year, and they're starting to win some games, and they may even do it again this season. So it's brought to you in part. Ryan is brought to you in part by the Steel City Yellow Jackets. I got to say this: if you're going to Erie, please do not stay at the Candlewood Suites Hotel. There's a picture of the hotel. It's in the Mill Creek Mall. Some bad things happened to me and my family there. I am advising you, if you go to Erie, Pennsylvania, please do not stay at this Candlewood Suites Hotel. If you have any questions, you can email me at ralphwilliams737@gmail.com, and I will explain it to you as to what happened there with me and as to why. The word's out there, Ryan. I have some wrestling friends that do independent wrestling matches up there. They're not staying there anymore. One of my church members went up there for a boat show. He couldn't find a room. Found out there was a room at the Candlewood. Slept in his van right down at the bayfront.
Damn.
He says, "I'm not
Well,
going
you got
there."
to leave a review.
Huh?
You got to leave a review on Yelp.
I already have.
Story.
I've left a review on every site. The management base there, or the corporate end of it, try to cover things up, and now it's getting ugly. I had to go get a lawyer, and it's really getting ugly. So I mean,
I'll make sure to stay clear of that place.
Yes, please do, and spread the word to all your friends going up to Erie to stay away from her. I don't know if you noticed, Ryan. I'm friends with Peter Blake and Harry the Greek and all them down there, Leo Haggerty, and Ray Kennedy. They'll tell you I'm in a wheelchair. I'm handicapped, and they disrespected me as a handicapped person. My mother was on the trip with us. 79 years old. They disrespected her. My wife is partially disabled as well, handicapped, and so they just totally disrespected us. And my wife complained about something. They kicked her out of the hotel. So all of us out of the hotel. So I mean, it's a bad situation there, and I advise anyone not to stay at that Candlewood Suites Hotel. All right, we're also in Namada Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-2010-500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Smoking Jim, do you have any questions for Ryan before we let him go?
No, man. Great job, Ryan.
All right.
Thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure.
No problem. Ryan Neal from Amped Up Sports. He's brand new to Amped Up Sports, but it's great having you aboard. I'm part of that too. I send all my shows over to the Facebook page, and I'm working trying to get them simulcast on the like Peter Blake does and some other people do as well. So Peter and I do a show on Wednesday night at 10:30 called Turnbuckle Talk. So I just want to let you know that as well, Ryan. So
okay, man. Well, you must get on right when I get off then.
Yes, I was on Wednesday night when you were on with Peter. That's how I discovered you.
Yeah.
And then when I talked to Leo, he gave me all your information, and Leo said, oh yeah, he's a good kid. So
I assume so. I'm happy to be here, and if you need me to come on any other days, let me know. I'm fairly available.
I will do that, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan Neal from the Amped Up Sports. Come on, talk with us about New Orleans Saints, the LSU Tigers, and some other college football. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on Ryan?
Excellent guest as usual. I expect no less from the booking machine. You get the best guests from across the country, man. And I tell you what, man, it's needed. The SEC is powerful, man.
Yes, they are.
And for this guy to have the insight with LSU like he does, man, they're not going to be down for long. This is, they were one of the great teams a year ago with the Heisman Trophy winner, and they'll be great again probably as soon as next year.
Absolutely, that could happen. Okay, Smoking Jim.
And don't forget, Shaq was a basketball player for a year at LSU.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's get into some local sports real quick here. Smoking Jim will run it down the line here. Duquesne football, they beat Wagner this week 40-21. They have a game this week against Central Connecticut State at Central Connecticut State. Robert Morris, they lost by 3 points to Central Connecticut State, 35-33. And this week they play Stonehill at Walton Stadium. The Pirates, as you well know, we at my rant, Paul Skeens won Rookie of the Year, and he's nominated now, part of the nomination for the Cy Young winner. I'd like to see him win both, but we all know what happened. But I have something for everybody here tonight or today here on the Sports Corner Show. This Saturday, the triple header of Ralph here, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 1250 a.m., 92.5 FM, The Answer, the Ralph Williams Show. My guest will be Gabe Molesky. And Gabe Molesky is one of the owners of those billboards you've been seeing all over Pittsburgh that say about Bob Nutting sell the team. And it's not just that billboard. This guy, Smoking Jim, is going out of his ways, meeting with county officials, showing them Bob Nutting's records about how much money he really makes, and he's been attending these meetings with the Sports and Exhibition Authority, trying to get them to step in, somebody to stop this madness with Bob Nutting. But but he'll be on to talk about that in studio with me this Saturday for the Ralph Williams Show. And so Smoking Jim, also the Penguins, they won in a shootout over the weekend, play tonight against a tough Tampa Bay Lightning team. You know, Tampa Bay, they always bring it when it comes to the Penguins, and they're a team that's been to the playoffs and the Stanley Cup lately. All right, your thoughts on the local sports that I just ran down?
Well, is it all right if I talk about the high school football?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Sure.
It's a shame. It's a shame that Pine Ridgeland had a chance to beat up on Bethel Park. Pine Ridgeland is a 6A team.
Yes.
They allowed them to move to 5A because they couldn't beat St. Joe's Prep out of Philadelphia, a dominant 6A school.
John Ladon's their coach here, right? John Ladon's their coach here, the former coach of Penn Hills, correct?
Yeah. And Shaler.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets Shaler. He couldn't win a game in Shaler. But, he's an Aliquippa. He's an Aliquippa guy.
Yes.
He's an Aliquippa guy. Yes. And I think he played at Robert Morris. He's a linebacker. Robert Morris, good football player.
Yes.
But it's a shame that they allowed a 6A school. I think they're going to win it all. I think they're going to beat Peters Township for the championship. Monty Christian Academy, I tried to warn everybody. I know how tough it is to win. I don't care how much talent you have. It's very, very tough to win a WPIL championship. That should be your focus, not where you're going to go to college or how many college offers you're getting. It has to be your number one priority, and it wasn't for Monty Christian Academy, and they got capped. I think that the collision course is on with Fort Cherry and Clareton.
Yes.
Clareton actually has a ninth grader.
Wow.
He was the first eighth grader in school history to get a Division I scholarship offer. You can't even play high school football in the eighth grade. No. He was so good, and they knew he was going to be so good. So they could be renaming the stadium years later instead of having it named after the kid from that we tried to get from Cincinnati down here. They may erase that and put this ninth grader's name on that stadium. But it should be some good high school football games. Central Catholic is playing in the championship game in 6A as well, and they're getting better and better. So
yeah. How about Westinghouse blowing away Windber? I mean, that game was 20-6 in the first couple minutes of the game. I mean, it was 20-6. They ended up winning 61-6. So
Well, let's see what they do against Bishop Guilfoyle.
yeah.
They got to travel
Oh,
now.
Bishop Guilfoyle got a good
To
football team, Smoking Jim. They do.
Yeah, they're always good out of
Yes.
Altoona, and Westinghouse got to travel now to
Yeah.
Johnstown to play on the neutral site. I don't know how that's a neutral site for Westinghouse, but they're hanging in there, man. It's a long road, but if you want to be state champions, man, this is the thing you got to do. And I think Westinghouse got the right mindset. I just don't think that it's a automatic for Westinghouse against Fort Cherry or Clarendon.
Yeah, exactly. Clareton's back. They were down for a few years, but they're back and better than ever. And it's great that these teams are doing. How about Avonworth? I mean, you and I had that discussion about how they run the football. I mean, and it's just crazy about some of these teams about what they do. And
Well, I interviewed your coach. I tried to tell Luther and those guys. I interviewed the coach a week ago Tuesday, and he brought in 5 players.
Okay.
And he told me each one of these players and had at some point during the season rushed for 200 yards in a single game.
Wow.
And he pointed to one kid. He said 2 weeks ago, this kid right here ran for 260 yards. In this past game, we only gave him the ball 3 times because his role was to block this week. And they're so unselfish. They don't care who scores, who runs. And I said, oh, my goodness, Monty could be in trouble. And everybody was saying, no, these guys are too slow. They're too this, they're too that. They're football players, man. And they put it on to Monty. Monty averages about 70 points a game, only scored 6 points. And it was a lucky about 80-yard run. And that was their only score, man. Hey, I think Avonworth is going to win AAA. These dudes, man, they hit. And the thing that travels, Ralph, in any level is the running game and defense. It travels anywhere. Running game and defense travels anywhere, man.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what else, too? What the running game does is it sets up the passing game. It's called play action. And then also, too, if you have a good running game, too, and you can do play action, your quarterback doesn't have to be that good. He can just manage the game. Okay? That's exactly what, you know what I mean? So if Avonworth has that kind of a good running game and they do sneak a pass play in there, you're not going to know it's coming because they do play action. And then the quarterback only has to manage the football game. That's all he has to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I say that all the time. And you are correct when you say that it's running the running game and defense and play action, and that's exactly what it is. And if you have good play action, any quarterback can run the team. It's that simple. That's like you say all the time about Cade Bell's offense. Any quarterback can run that. You know what I mean? And so speaking of the Pitt Panthers, blew it this week against Clemson. They had opportunities to win this game. I don't understand how in God's green earth, how in the world you were at the 2-yard line and get nothing out of it. Okay, or a field goal or whatever it is that they did try to get. We weren't able to watch the game, Smoking Jim, because we were at the awards banquet, for achieving greatness that I received, the award I received. Tom Lejerky, our Trapper Tom. I also want to congratulate him from Keystone State Wrestling Alliance and the Steel City Yellow Jackets. And we were there. We didn't get to really see much of the game or listen to it or anything like that. But from what I understand, they were on the 2-yard line and they had an opportunity, and then they end up getting a delay of game, a holding call, illegal formation, and then something else happened. And I'm like, how in the world does this? I just don't figure. How in the world can you not get 2 yards, Smoking Jim? You think about that for a minute. How can you not get 2 yards? I don't get that. Your thoughts on this Pitt game?
Wow, I think you said it earlier with one of the guests that maybe you was talking to Bo, but you said it correctly that we all thought that Clemson would blow Pitt out, and Pitt played a tremendous game. They were at home.
They did. Yes.
Yeah, they had their opportunities, man, especially with a backup quarterback in there.
Yes.
And I think that
I told Luther Dupree about Nate Yarnell, and he didn't believe me. Remember, we had that argument on the radio show last week, and I said to him, I said, Nate Yarnell is not a bad quarterback. He's a serviceable backup quarterback. You know what he told me? Oh, he stinks. Oh, he lost games. Oh, he did this, he did that. Yeah, but when we needed him to win for us and manage the game, he did it. Okay, Nate Yarnell is not a bad quarterback. It's just sad that we have a patchwork offensive line that can't block. You know what I mean? You know. Well, it's the truth. And then they lost their offensive line coach, Dave Borbely. He was there since Narduzzi's been there, and you know, they had a good offensive line. They brought this guy in from Western Carolina, came with Cade Bell, and I have no idea what this guy's made of. You know, that can coach, if he can even coach an offensive line. I don't know. I don't know what he did at Western Carolina. I would have to look it up. You know what I mean? You know, so, but Smoke and Jim, we're getting ready to wrap things up because we got to get ready for the wrestling show coming up. Our guest today, Daniel Polinsky, the owner of the Pros of Wrestling. I was at their event on Saturday. It was a great event. It was nice to be there with guys that we've interviewed on the show. We got a lot to talk about today. WWE, AEW's pay-per-view. And I got some news for you, Smoke and Jim, about AEW. It's going to knock your socks off. Wait to hear this news, okay, about AEW. I just got it today, and I got to tell you, it's really disappointing to hear this news coming up for next year for AEW. Wait till you find out. Wait till you hear this news. And it's disappointing, but we'll let everyone hang on it until the next hour. Any final thoughts before we go, Smoke and Jim?
No, sir.
All right. Okay, stay tuned. Coming up in about 5 minutes, the Wrestle Talk Show with me, Smoke and Jim Frazier, and Ralph Williams here, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes. But until next week, Sports Corner, don't forget, you never know who the booking machine's going to book. Keep on my social media platforms. And also, I want to let everyone know I'm now on the new social media platform, Blue Sky. So check out all my postings on Blue Sky. Don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel and watch all of our archive shows on there as well. Smoke and Jim, have yourself a great one. See you next show. And have yourself a great day, everybody, and be safe.